Hi everyone, it's Ellen here, and I've got this week's lesson for you. We are doing a portrait with this sort of special spotlight effect on this with this portrait. This technique was made famous by Rembrandt. Other artists did it, but he was a particular master at it. Now, excuse me, the first video I'm going to talk about the drawing. As you can see, it's quite a technical drawing, and I thought really most of the work is in the drawing, and then the painting kind of is the icing on the cake. So I wanted to talk this through with you before we get into painting. So as you can see, it's a very, very dramatic effect, and because it's such a dramatic effect, quite a lot of the face and the normal things that we would use to gauge where everything is, we can't actually see. We can't see the top of the head, we can't see the sides of the face and things like that. So this is why I wanted to talk to you about how we would construct a portrait like this. So remembering we need to break down into simple shapes and really look at how those things fit together in what you're drawing. Okay, so the very first thing I did was I drew a line down the center of the face. Now this is a 3/4 view, so obviously this side is coming towards you and it's more visible than this side. If you're drawing a 3/4 view, if you do a line for the eyes, and then the center point would be 1/3 from the side. That's where the nose should be in a strict 3/4 view. As you can see, the line for the eye line isn't straight, and the reason for that is because the face is a rounded thing, so therefore the line has got a curve for where the eyes would be. Okay, so that's really the most important things. Make your central line down the middle, and then get your line where your eyes are going to be. Parallel to that, you would then get the line of the mouth like this. Okay, so the next thing to do, and this is it's more tricky than doing it with a straight portrait, is getting where the edges of the eyes are. Now this one is bigger because it's coming towards you. And normally the space in between here is equal to both eyes. We have room for a third eye in between. With this, what you would do is you'd mark in the edges of your eyes, and then you'd be a little bit smaller and then a little bit smaller as everything's going further away from you. Unfortunately, there isn't an easy, nice, neat scientific trick for this. It's more about judgment, this one. What's really nice about my picture is that the tear ducts are really, really clear. So I can definitely mark those in. Now, as you know, the outside of the eyes are not as clear, and you can't see eyelids or anything like that. So to help me and to make more sense of my drawing, I've marked in this sort of lemon shape that you have for your eyes. So you have almost a 45-degree angle for this part of the eyelid, and then you've got this part that's rounded here. If you notice, again, a lot of this is about observation. If you notice, the tear duct is lower down than the outside of the ear. If we were drawing a full-on straight portrait, you would draw your central line where the eyes would go, and then you would look at how much the eye was below the central line or above. So for instance, this is my central line for my eye. There's my edges like that, and then you would think, oh well, the tear duct is below the midline, the sort of curved part of the eye is above the line, something like that. That is a very important observation to make, especially here where we've got limited information. Try and make sense of the information that you have And like I say, draw it in anyway, because you have to look at it as a whole thing and try and understand what's going on. Okay, so again, with this kind of effect, the insides of the eyelids on the bottom of the eyes are very, very important. So it's important to draw those in. These are more of a rounded thing like this, and then you can do another parallel line underneath. So rounded here, parallel here, because for my picture there are very key highlights here, and they describe where the bottom of the eyes are. You're actually using where the whites of the eyes more than the pupil to describe where the eyes are and where they're looking and things like that. Okay, so your central line, curve for your eyes, curve for your mouth. So if you remember, quarter of the face is between the eyes and the end of the nose, and then quarter of the face from the nose, sorry, half of the nose, half of the face from the end of the nose to the chin. You may want to have a look at our notes from before. We're looking at the perspective, you know, the layout of the face. Okay, so as far as the nose goes, the same rules apply. So when you've got your line for your nose, which I think is in the middle of the eye line and the chin, I think that's the central point, bring the line from your tear duct down, and that will give you the edges of your nose on both sides. We don't really need to worry about this nostril. If you can't see it, don't draw it. We can't see that nostril, so we don't need to include it. And then central of the eyes, bring it down, and you come to the mouth here. Okay, so once you've got that basic layout that we have, I then want you to look at the shapes that are created by the highlights. For instance, with the eyes, a lot of this is in darkness, but you have this fleshy part that sticks out, which creates a highlight. You've got another fleshy highlight here. I've drawn the nose here, but I may or may not put a lot of information there. As you can see, there's no line, there's no hard line, it's all shadow and highlights. So this highlight might be the same as that highlight. I wanted to draw this now to help you understand, you know, my drawing really. So this cheek here could be a triangle like that. This could be another triangle here. You've got quite a strong triangular shape coming down here. Again, the nostrils aren't really described. You've got a triangle here and a circle here. And I know it sounds crazy, but to break it down into small pieces really will make it much easier to understand. So you've got this triangle here, and you could have another triangle here if you wanted to. Okay, so once you've got the shapes built up, and you then, like I say, need to put your highlights in your picture. Now, normally when we have a mouth, I say no hard lines, because it's all about pigment, it's all about colour, and it's all about highlight and shadow. But obviously this mouth is very dramatic. It's got a very nice kind of classic Cupid's bow on the top. It looks a bit sort of Hollywood era, black and white film, very glamorous kind of feel to it. And then I put the very definite highlight on the lip to describe the way the mouth comes in and out, and again some of the shapes at the bottom. Okay, so I hope that helps. I'm going to give you a photograph of my technical drawing, and obviously there'll be a photograph of the image that I use. So hopefully, combined with the video, it will make more sense and you'll be able to work through it gradually. But your beginning layout is this: your eye line, your mouth line, your nose, and your chin, like this. It may be worth if you want something more concrete, you may want to take a unit and count how many of those units fit into your picture. So for instance, you could use the top of the head to the brow bone and see, oh okay, 2 of my brow bone fit into my nose, or something like that. Find whatever it is that makes you understand the construction of the face the best way you can. Okay, I should be back in a minute to talk about painting. Thanks.